Hola, welcome to our breakfast table. My name's Kay Adams. Peter Schrager is here. KB is here. Nate B is here. What's up?
What's up, everybody? How you doing, okay?
Good, pretty good.
Pretty good.
How's that drink going over there?
Oh, it's good. Cinco de Mayo. Ready to rock and roll.
Okay, well, let's sing into the lead Blockaruski.
Lead block.
Here we go. The Jets took Zach Wilson second overall. As expected, they hope to have found their franchise quarterback, something they've been trying to find for a bit now. So, what does Wilson think about joining a team that had just 2 wins last season? He looks pumped there in Cleveland. Well, here's what he said right after the draft last week.
You know, when a team isn't doing super well, and you can go in there and actually be a key piece into what actually flips that organization around. I think that's so special. And so I'm so excited. This is a team game. You know, you can go from a losing season one year to a winning season the next. You know, you can flip it real quick. So I'm excited to get in there and help make this thing work.
Saying all the right things. Zach Wilson looking to flip it in New York. Just 2 wins last season. Before he was even drafted there, we talked about reasonable expectations for the Jets. I wonder if they changed here at the breakfast table. My take, Nate, was just don't be, and you guys kind of laughed at it, just don't be last. Just don't be last in the division. But now that they've got their quarterback, what do you think reasonable expectations are?
9 wins.
9?
9 wins. Yesterday I was going back and forth, and I was trying to give a realistic number. 10 wins is a lot, even given the extra game in the season. But I would say 9 wins. But more importantly, keeping the quarterback healthy. I was looking at Joe Burrow last year, and as good as he was, and as excited as we were for the future, when we saw him get carried off the field, like that was disappointing because he was getting banged up all year. And that's what happens with rookies. Rookies get beat up. Rookie quarterbacks get beat up in this league year in and year out. So I would love to see them get 9 wins, be above 500, and then also keep their quarterback healthy for 17 weeks. If they could do that, that is a win across the board. I can care less about the division. I can care less about them competing within their conference. I just want these guys to have a season that they can build on. Robert Saleh can look at his team and say, we improved drastically from last year. Now let's get better and add a couple of wins, maybe 10 or 11 in the following year for Zach Wilson.
And you know how this works. Right now, Robert Saleh is right down the street from us. He's watching this segment and he's screaming and he hates it and he wants to make the playoffs.
Of course.
What's today's date, Kate?
It's the 5th of May.
May 5th?
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and say, construction, baby steps, let's win a few games. Every single team, go to the playoffs. The playoffs. Last year, if we would have had this segment, May 5th, 2020, and said, Dolphins, 10 wins, it would have seemed stupid, irresponsible. They don't have the players, they don't have the... No, I believe in Brian Flores just like I believe in Saleh. This is not just your average new coach. He comes completely tenured, respected, an attitude change, environments, everything like that you want. It's not just that he's going to bring a new scheme. There's going to be a new belief there. And so the reason it seems so difficult is you have the rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach. So I looked into this. Rookie head coaches, meaning first time ever as a head coach, not Andy Reid with the Chiefs, making the playoffs in their first year.
Wow.
It's actually a lot that have done it. All of these guys, some of them not your usual names, in the first season they've ever been a head coach.
All right, Gase.
We got a Mike McCoy sighting. Chip Kelly. Very recent. And you know what's interesting? There's a couple of them that jump out. A couple of them did it with rookie quarterbacks. The Chuck Pagano one in 2012. John Harbaugh is not even up there. He did it. There's a few of them who have done it right off the bat. Rookie quarterbacks. Kevin Stefanski didn't have a rookie quarterback, but last year, bam,
Mike Smith and Matt Ryan did it.
Mike Smith and Matt Ryan, another. I mean, it's actually a lot. And I would just defy anyone to look at this, and if you go back to 2013, 2018, sit there and say, I think playoffs. Someone would say, no, that's crazy. The league surprises you. If you get the coach and you get a quarterback who's not afraid, you can go to the playoffs immediately. I know the division is good. I know it'll be better. The expectation on May 5th is playoffs, and there's a lot of other people who have done it.
And it's the 4th place team schedule. So they're playing the worst teams in every other division as they're out of conference games. So it's a schedule that's advantageous to the teams. But they killed the draft. They were awesome in the draft. Those first 4 picks are all going to play an immediate role. Zach Wilson's going to be their quarterback. Elijah Vera Tucker was a guy that I know the Jets had very highly rated. They went and traded up to get him. And then to get Elijah Moore in the 2nd round and Michael Carter in the 3rd or 4th round, it's an incredible draft. And yet look at the ages of their offensive cornerstones for what they're going to be trotting out there. And first-year offensive coordinator, Mike LaFleur's first season. 21-year-old quarterback, 21-year-old wide receiver. Guys, we got to be patient here. Corey Davis is the senior leader. He's
Yeah, sure.
26.
I'm with you.
Mike LaFleur is so young, too. He's 35. He's the offensive coordinator. He's never done this. It's Kyle Shanahan's system. But, like, I would just preach patience. This team is going to be really good someday. Really good. I don't think it's going to be in 2021. And I know the expectation might be playoff or 9 wins. Just with an offense that young, the defense will be solid. They've got established veterans, and I know Quinnen Williams got hurt, but he'll be back. They'll be okay. The offense is going to take its lumps. It's going to take its bruises. It might be rough at some point. So I would say Jets, legitimately, if it's a 17-game season, 5 or 6 wins, I think. And that Salah might be throwing.
But that's not what we're talking about. That's a goal. We're talking about reasonable expectations, which I think is you answered the question. I mean, if they end up. Just to say, if they end up 3rd place in the division, that means they beat out the New England Patriots or a 10-6 team from last year that has more chemistry than they do because they're very young, as Schrags just said, and they're very new. They've got massive changes over the last year. They beat out the Dolphins and they beat out the division-winning Buffalo Bills. If they come in 3rd place, they can at least say that. I think that's enough. You don't.
No, I'm just listening to you. No,
I think that's enough to be 3rd place. But so reasonable, because there's a difference here. You're having 2 conversations. There's goals. Can they do it? Should they want to do it? Or what's a reasonable expectation? In your estimation, reasonably, what would be right?
You know, I hate being pinned down to win numbers. It just seems tacky. But
that's not what I'm asking.
But in effect, it is. The expectations are winning. I think a lot of times we get caught up in the rosters and the depth charts and all that stuff, and that's fine. I really try to focus on head coach because I really do think that matters. Like, I remember when Jim Harbaugh came to San Francisco and went 13-3. And it's just, that's never the expectation. Sometimes you find a rock star, and it doesn't really matter how young the roster is or how fresh it is. I think this team is going to win next year. I do. I believe in Salah.
Listen, I as much as I can appreciate that, and I understand exactly where you're coming from, Kay, I think the bigger question, we need to pull back and not just look at this team and their roster. We also have to look at the division. Division is going to be much better than it was last year.
I agree.
That's what I just said.
So we have. So you're saying, okay, don't finish last. Are you telling me do you believe they're better than the Dolphins or the Patriots?
A reasonable expectation is for them to take a big step forward, and being not last in the division would be huge for them.
It'll be huge, but it's going to be the most difficult task.
Yeah.
It might be the most difficult task out of all divisions because the Patriots are loaded back again. They got Mac Jones, who's backing up Cam Newton.
I don't know if the Patriots have a quarterback. How loaded are they? Do they have a good quarterback? I don't know.
Listen, I'd stack up Mac Jones or Cam Newton up against Zach Wilson. Yeah. Zach Wilson hasn't proven anything.
Definitely not.
So I'm looking at Mac Jones and Cam Newton. You have Tua down in Miami with a ton of weapons. And, of course, you have the Bills who are dominant.
Yeah, the Bills are
If
good.
you're just stacking up the division right now as it stands on May 5th, the Jets have more to prove than anybody.
I think coming from a Jets fan standpoint, they want to be able to just watch their team this year. Like, it's been a really tough couple years.
Yeah.
And everyone points to Gase, but it wasn't just Gase. The roster itself was just devoid of playmakers. So you'd end up handing the ball off to Frank Gore 35 times a game in Week 12, and you're like, what are we doing? We have got to have some young players on this roster that we can at least feature and see. Wilson, I don't know if he's going to be good this year. I don't. It could be really tough for him as a first-year starter at 21. But he's going to have 2 or 3 of those crazy throws, like the ones he had at his pro day. He's going to have one of those Mahomes-ian, like 40
displays of athleticism.
Peter, Jets fans, do you think the Jets will be the best team at MetLife Stadium this year?
No.
You don't?
I think the Giants are going to be better than the Jets this year.
Daniel Jones, I don't know.
I think the Giants...
Kyle, it's a long offseason. Can we save those topics for another segment?
Believe me, but it's late after.
The Giants are like in kind of win now mode, even though they weren't a great team. I think the Jets, this is like the bare bottom, and now we're going to build it. And I think it's going to be positive. It's going to be fun to watch. And like Elijah Moore, this guy that falls to the second round is awesome. Okay. And it's a shock to me that he fell to the second round. He's fast. He's talented. He's got great hands. He put up better numbers than Devontae Smith over the last month of the season last year. This guy is going to be a lightning bolt for New York Jets fans. So you add in Wilson, you add in Moore. I think Mims showed signs. And then Michael Carter was a 4th-round pick. He's going to get play and action in that offense. I mean, their LaFleur offense. Really, it's a Shanahan offense. They do 10 running backs. He's going to get action.
It's less about where they land in the division and more about a step in the right direction. Having a team that the city can be proud of.
When I put on local CBS 2 and Ian Eagle is calling the game with Charles Davis and it's the Jets, I don't want to have to click off and watch another network because I can't watch the product. Like, that's how bad the Jets are.
100%.
Last year, it was impossible to watch this team. Impossible. It was so boring and bad and just undisciplined. Now, though, they're fun to watch.
Yeah, we want them to do well. We also want
the
funk.
Need the funk.
We want
the funk.
funk.
Yeah.
We need the